What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is so nice to be back here. And very, very nice to have a longtime friend back on the show, Arwin.
Yes, I'm finally back after what seems like ages.
I know what happened to you, lah. Where do you go?
I have a new series and a new Instagram account for Machi Rosma. Don't forget to follow me at Machi Roast.
Wow, first things first, plug your own self. Yeah. Ask you where you've been, how have you been, how are you, if things doing well, is a plug your show first. I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, but congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
I think it's been getting a lot of, I don't know, how has it been for you?
It's been good. Very positive outcome. And I'm loving whatever I'm doing now, which is this is what matters most to me. So
yeah, for those listening, I mean, could you please explain, like you have two shows right now.
Yeah. So basically, my Instagram account, my personal Instagram account, is now a self-help platform where I post moral-based stories, and I post quotes, I post inspirational experiences to help people overcome issues and things which they find hard to find relief in. And then I separated my Machi Roastma account from myself because I wanted to have my own identity. Because every time I go out, people call me Machi Roast, Machi Roast. I'm like, no, my name is Arwin Kumar. So I had to separate her from me, but she's still with me, so
Yeah, because she's still with you. That's right, she's at home right now cooking dinner.
Yes, brand new video dropping this week.
Oh yes, okay, and congratulations on that. But today we have a very, very special guest. Quite excited to have her on the show, actually. Haha, I gave it away already. It's a girl. This girl has a lot of titles under her name, actually. Not just about competitions, but she's done a lot of things to help people, refugees, and just to name a few. She's done a lot for the country. She's done a lot for the people who are in need. It gives us great honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce on the show for the very first time, Miss Deborah Henry. Hello!
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm almost as nervous as when I was at Miss Universe. Almost. Minus the heels and makeup.
It's like okay, I know we're gonna be having a beauty queen on the show. I'll be like, okay, I need to polish up my English so I don't sound stupid in front of her.
Yeah, oh my god.
But I know, I mean, she's chill, right? You're chill, right?
I'm chill.
Okay. Awesome. I mean, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
First things first, I mean, what's been up? I know some of our producers got in touch and said, hey, would you like to have Deborah on the show? And I'm like, of course. I mean, the thing is, we've always seen you from afar. I have seen you from afar because, you're on TV, you're on magazines and stuff like that, and now you're here. I mean, what's been up?
Well, I've seen you from afar too. I'm like, the million hits kind of the guy.
Oh, man.
What's up? So much. I mean, moving on with life, trying to, I guess find new ways of doing what I'm doing and things that I care deeply about, and trying to find a way to connect with the Malaysian public and make them more successful.
Wow. And okay, you were born in Ireland.
Yes.
And you moved. When did you move to Malaysia?
So I was literally born in Dublin and then plucked out of Dublin and brought back to KL. So Malaysia's always been home.
I see.
And I've only lived abroad for about 4 years, for when I was modeling for a year when I was 17, and then university, and then back here.
Oh. So, okay, when it comes to modeling, okay, you started modeling at the age of 15. So how does one actually in your teenage years where you're still under the guidance of your parents and stuff like that, one day just decide, I want to do modeling, I want to be in front of the cover, and I want to, be like all these models and kind of trying to see whether I've got it or not?
So actually, I was a tomboy in school. I lived in shorts and t-shirts.
What?
You'd find me on the basketball court, track and field.
I would believe that because you're so tall. She walked in, I'm like, Alamak, where did I put my high heels? Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, so I mean, that was me, and I was in Bangsa one night as a 15-year-old and shouldn't probably have been there.
It's okay. It's nobody has photographic evidence. Okay.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
More social media. And an agency stopped me and said, "Hey, would you like to be a model?" And I was like, "Not really." But then I went into the agency a couple of weeks later, and and before I knew it, I was on runways doing catwalk shows, and then eventually it was like, maybe this could be something I could be good at, and make a career out of. So it kind of just snowballed along. It was very gradual and kind of convinced my parents. My parents are kind of cool. They were very open to letting me try new things.
Oh, wow.
But their condition was you have to go to university and get your degree. So it was finishing school, spent a year in London modeling, and then went to Australia for uni, and then came back. And that's when the pageants started.
I see. Okay, here's something that I kind of want to bring up. I spoke to Art about this. Okay, so you went to school and then you go to university. Like people will not know this. I'm not sure if you remember. Obviously, she doesn't remember. Yeah. I mean, then again, it'll be tough. I mean, does a name Mr. Budrum kind of like ring through your head?
Yes.
Ha! See, she remembers Mr. Budrum.
At college.
Yes, at college. Do you remember that? Okay, here's the funny thing. I was actually in the same class as you.
Oh my God.
She doesn't know. Of course, because
I was like I think I was quite quiet.
You were so quiet.
I kind of kept to myself.
Yeah.
The basketball girl?
Yeah.
The track field girl?
Okay, here's the thing though. Okay, so I remember you were in Taylor's College doing CPU.
Yeah.
Is it called CPU? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Canadian Pre-University.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were doing business admin class. It was our first week of college. Okay, by the way, I was just there for 2 months. Then I freaking dropped out and gone to another uni. That's why people
no wonder I don't remember.
Yeah. So, okay, I remember Deborah very, very clearly because, I was sitting with my bunch of friends, Subang friends. Okay, we were sitting in one corner. And then, we were sitting in Mr. Budrum's class. And all of a sudden, there's this one girl who's so tall walked in. And my friend hi. I looked at her, I was like, what? He's like, who's that? I was like, how am I supposed to know? And that's when my friend kind of got interested, and all he could do was just keep talking about Deborah. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, and I'll just shy away, and I mean, like, good luck in your whole escapade. But I will not name who this person is. But that's how I met. That's how I remember you. And when you were on the big screen on the world stage, I'm like, oh, but she was very quiet in class. It's like, when the lecturer would say, okay, does anybody have any questions? And then you have the overachievers putting their hands up. Me hiding in the corner because I don't know what he was talking about. Yeah. And then she was very quiet. It's like, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, just...
Well, I was like 16, so I was probably I was quite young when I was like, and then everyone, it was sort of, and you were on your own, you're kind of out of school and stuff, so yeah.
It was pretty intimidating, that class, because of our lecturer. I mean,
he was a bit of a scary man.
Yeah, he was quite scary.
But it's interesting. I think one interesting thing was modeling your passion, or did everything just came along with the flow all of a sudden, unexpectedly, and you just decided to go with the flow? How did I even
one thing I've learned in life is never say never, because everything I said, I will never do that, I end up doing it. And even beauty pageants, when I started modeling, I knew a lot of the girls like Elaine Daly, Ariana Teo, Lena Teo. They were like friends or mentors.
Yeah.
And they were like, you have to join, Miss Malaysia. And I was like, oh my God, no. These pageants are so derogatory to women. I was very feminist back then. And it was, I'm never going to join this, rah, 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 and a few years later, I joined, and not only one, but 2 pageants. So it's kind of, for me, the path has always been, I think my lesson learned now is to be open, and opportunities come your way and you never know what comes your way and whether you should take advantage of it, grab it while you can. So modeling was never a thing for me, but I realized the platform it gave me. And same with pageants. When I joined in 2007 Miss World, it was really because it was a platform. Beyond standing on stage in a bikini and waving or, that sort of stuff. It was an amazing platform that I knew I could use to talk about things that mattered to me. Right. Plus, you kind of are representing your country as well.
Yeah.
It is, wearing your sash. And when you're at Miss World, Miss Universe, they don't call you by your name. You're known as your country. So literally for a month, they say, Malaysia, come here, Malaysia,
oh
we need
my
you.
God.
That's your name. And
wow.
it's a surreal, it's a pretty cool experience.
Wow. That's insane. I mean, to not even want to, or haven't even had the slightest thought, because there are a lot of people out there who are probably just eager to be in this industry, and there you are, standing on the world stage, and sometimes wearing really really gorgeous outfits, and sometimes like you mentioned, wearing a bikini. This is where I kind of want to ask the question. You're in the front line. You're on cover of magazines. You're wearing fashion's finest. How does that? I mean, have you at any point in your career ever had any insecurities of yourself particularly when you have so many people who have their own mindset and their own judgment upon you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was 15 when I started, and I was. You should have seen how much food I ate back then. I mean, I was so athletic, and within like 2 months of modeling, I was comparing myself to other girls, other women. I was told, like, make sure you don't put any more weight on your hips, on your this, that. And I'm 15 and I'm like, what? Like, and you're thrown into this thing and you have to grow up. And that industry is very much based on how you look. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, if you're a scientist, rocket scientist, it's about your brain, but this is about your physical attributes. So you have to accept that's part of the game. And for me, I think I went through it. Like, I had issues with food, my relationship with food. I would starve myself of certain things, and then I would end up eating an entire chocolate cake in one go. Like, you have these weird things that you go through trying to figure out your body and yourself. So yeah, absolutely. But having, I think, a strong family, having I think a moral compass, kind of going back to yourself and what really matters to you, and having that support around you really matters, because it is. I mean, and even now with social media, it's even worse. Like, everyone has an opinion, and they're gonna look at you, and you're very objectified. We talk about like men objectifying women, and that does happen, but so does everyone else. It's not a gender thing to some degree. It's everyone kind of, we think it's our right to kind of go da-da-da-da-da, and we just share our opinions, and we forget that someone else has a heart.
Right, and the reason why I'm asking this is because, like, in the line that we work in, we kind of have a lot of people kind of writing in, and when it comes to sometimes females, they will always reach out and say that, you know what, I kind of think I look ugly, I look horrible. And again, you will get some people saying that, I wish I was like Deborah Henry. She looks perfect. I bet she doesn't have any insecurities at all. And that's why I kind of want to have you talk about it a little bit more, kind of I'm going to delve in a little bit more into, like, okay, what are some of the insecurities that you had of yourself that kind of like affected you in a way, but in the end you overcame it, and how?
Like I said, one of the main things was my relationship with food. I went from, like I said, eating pretty much anything I wanted to then pretty much starving myself of certain foods. Like 0 carbs, 0 dessert, 0 sugars, and I love my chocolate. So you know what that does? It makes you go a bit mad. And then when you see that cake, you just eat it all. And then you feel sick and you feel guilty and you feel all sorts of things. And then you're constantly going to work. And I would literally do things where I would look at the pair of pants on another model. And if it was loose on her, if the same size was loose on her and tight on me, something was wrong with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I wanted to like not work out because I didn't want to have shape. I didn't want muscles. I didn't want a butt. I didn't want boobs. I wanted to be like a plank.
Oh, wow.
And that was me from being an athletic person, where I used to run. I was like representing my school 100, 200 meters. So you went from being muscular and being fit to then just wanting to be skinny. And it actually was joining the beauty pageants that actually helped me, helped improve my relationship with my body. And because it went from just being judged based on how I looked. Models are hangers, right? You're a hanger for clothes. That's really it to some degree.
Wow.
That's
a very straightforward way of putting it. Yeah.
And I went from that to then, actually, no, I have an opinion. I have a voice. It's about being fit and healthy and representing your country. And that broadened everything. It was so much more me, and it was so much more me. I wasn't just that thing. And so that was a journey of like then working out and being fit and feeling good about myself, and then being able to eat whatever I want in moderation. So I really believe in moderation. And there's always going to be someone prettier, sexier, taller, smarter, better. Like there's always that in life. So if you're going to keep comparing yourself with other people, there is no end to that. That's one. And then the second thing for me I can think of is rejection. People see these glitzy, photoshopped covers, the photographs, the stuff we put on Instagram today, catwalks, the TV commercials, everything it's managed, it's beautified.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to a friend yesterday about when I lived in London as a model, the amount of, like, I would travel an entire day to 4 parts of London, which is a very big city, to go for castings. And they would literally sit there, flip your book open, look at your face for 2 minutes, and then go, thanks for coming. And you were one of like 50 models who were standing there.
Oh, wow.
And that constant rejection, like, you know, you can't take it to heart. So you numb yourself, like, whatever, if it works out, it works out, whatever. So you learn to not expect anything from anyone, because I'm not putting my hope up. I'm not going to get my hope up. And so, yeah, so rejection is another thing. And how do you overcome that? How do you, as you get older and your life goes beyond just one aspect, how do you not lose touch with yourself? Because I think we all go through difficult things in life. That's life. It's a wave. There are ups, there are downs.
Yep.
No one has a perfect life. There isn't a such thing. And you either can become really numb and not feel anymore and close off, or you can choose to still to be vulnerable, to feel, to live, to experience the highs and the lows and appreciate the growth that comes with that.
Right.
And it makes you be a better person. And I think for me, at Miss Universe in 2011, it was if I were to be honest, it's still something I think about today. It took me I only started watching Miss Universe 2 years ago because I couldn't bear to watch it. That's how painful it was. Mm-hmm. That I felt like I could finally place, and I believed it. And all the online polls were like, Malaysia's going to be top 5 or Malaysia's going to be number 1, you know? And I was like, can we really win Miss Universe? Mm-hmm. And I had like hundreds of people back in KL supporting me, and I felt the whole nation was behind me. And I was in Brazil, standing on that stage, and my family flew all the way there, and I could see the Malaysian flag like fluttering in the crowd. And they call the top 10 countries. And we all know only 2-3 Asian countries get in, right? So I think it was like one country, Asian country down. I was like, oh my God. And then another one. And then finally, right till the end, and I was standing near Philippines, and it was like, oh my God. And then the camera was like pans, and it kind of like plays with you, and you're like, what the hell is going on? I'm going to faint. And then finally it zoomed in on Philippines. And then I felt like, my God, the world, like I just felt like the ground was opening up to swallow me. And I could see the flag just drop.
Oh.
And how do you come back from that? When you're like at ground zero and you feel like there isn't any lower I can go, you have to bounce up, you know? And it's my biggest lesson from that was resilience. Like you got to have grit in life.
Wow.
In anything you do. And because I do so much work with women today and girls and everything you said earlier about everyone has insecurities, and I'm not standing here as a beauty queen, as someone who's perfect, but we all struggle. We have our own struggles. And so it's taught me so much that allows me to then give to others. Wow.
That's an amazing story. Yeah. Awen, you have anything to say?
If there's one thing I want to ask you, because this is something my friend has shared with me, and she is quite a well-known model. And is it true that in the modeling industry, one of the dark sides of the modeling industry is that when you're not needed, you will just be dumped immediately without even being consulted. Like, you know, because fresh faces come in almost every single day. So for them to keep up with their progress or their status, they have, like you said, they have to constantly fit into the requirements, which is you either staff yourself or you maintain a particular shape. And one thing I realized about my friend is she's not happy. Although she earns a lot, like a huge sum of money, but she's not happy doing it, but she still chooses to do it.
Well, yeah. Do you feel you have power? I think that's what it comes down to. How much power does she feel that she has? Because you're at everyone else's, you're at the, You're at the beck and call, mercy of everyone else. It's, do they want to use you for a show? Do they think you look nice in their clothes? Do they like your look? You know, are you good enough? And so you just sit there waiting for someone to cast you and use you. You have no control. You're like, you're powerless. That's what I felt. And so how do you and does that give you happiness? No. But I think as a model, especially in Malaysia, it's a very small industry. You have to reinvent yourself. Mm-hmm. This can't be your career forever. You know, eventually there are going to be new faces and which is fine. So you've got to figure out what's next. You've got to be smart enough to innovate and think beyond, create other opportunities. Because it's a great industry. You meet tons of people from all sectors. You have a great network. It's how you're going to use it. But if it's going to be, unless you're a supermodel and you're minting money and you're on the runway of Milan, Paris, New York, the struggle is real. and you can't, like, if you look in Malaysia, a lot of, celebrities or people who work in entertainment, they don't do just one thing. They do a few things. So you can't, very often it's not just a singer or an actor. You're hosting, you've got nowadays a lot of people have their own brands. You're an influencer in other ways. You use your platform for multiple like reaches. So, and ultimately it's happiness.
Yeah,
so.
it's in other words, I think like, you can't just depend wholly on one thing and just be basically happy and successful. I think most successful people tend to diverse their portfolio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's. I mean, like with regards to your friend, who, and when she's not happy, but is she sticking into this industry just because that's the only way that she can make money, or the only way that she can kind of like make ends meet, or is there some sort of reassurance, self-assurance that she's actually looking for, which a lot of people tend to look for these days?
I mean, it is an industry that like it feeds you in this, that like you look amazing in that
yes,
dress
exactly,
and you're so stylish, and it's like it's this vicious cycle that like you can't almost get out of it.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's just like not just women, but guys equally. When they are social media influencers and they suddenly just blow up and they get millions of views and they get millions of likes, and all of a sudden one day they're just like halved by by likes or views, and they're dropping and stuff, and then they're like, oh my god, it's the algorithm, oh my god, it's this, oh my god, people don't like me anymore, and then they tend to kind of like evolve to something when they're not.
Oh my god, I have a good question. Oh my god, I think that just triggered it. This is a very straightforward and honest question I have. I've been wanting to ask. Are models trained to be, oh my god, this is gonna, don't, if the shoe fits, feel free to wear it, but are models in generally trained to act like divas? Because, I'm not even kidding. Every model I meet,
I look like diva?
it's, no, you don't, you're friendly, but the many models I've met, they find it so hard to smile. Like it's just like it's like a model face like plastered onto their structure here.
When they walk the runway, they've got this like resting bitch face.
Yeah.
yeah, is it on the runway or like at the kopitiam?
Yeah, exactly. It's everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if if that makes them feel.
It can be an industry where people take themselves a little bit too seriously. Like, and that could be anyone, not just a model, right? It could be anyone in the fashion industry that they kind of walk in and they're a little bit the diva air, and it's like, what you see on TV and all that. Yeah, it's not my thing.
Thank God.
I'm like, for me, I'm all about substance. Like, if you want to act a little bit like that and you bring something to the table, maybe. But for me, beyond that, it's about being nice. You got to
Exactly.
treat people with respect, whoever they are, respect people's trade, their art, whoever they are, at whatever level they work for you, or you work with them. And it's being relatable. If you want to turn up and, look all like high and mighty, and people are going to feel intimidated, and that it's something I get even till today, even though I try and smile.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people will automatically judge you just because you were in the world stage, you were in a very prestigious event. They'd be like, oh, Deborah Henry, she must be really, really snobbish because, she's all high and mighty and, hang out. I'm pretty sure you get a lot of that.
Yeah, but that's kind of human nature, right? We all prejudge and, and it's okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, that's good.
But if I can, if you meet people and they see you for who you are and you chat with someone and then, they get to see a little bit more of you, right?
Exactly. And then they eventually let other people know.
Yeah. So it's more like a lesson to like try not to like judge too much, I guess. We all judge, but, within reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But you were, okay, so I'm pretty sure, you were put in this position where you were very well known. And it's sometimes tough to always try to please everyone. You know what I mean? When you walk into a room full of like a press conference full of media people, you feel like, you have to basically, I wouldn't say force yourself, but you have to make yourself smile and be nice to everyone. And basically in hopes to not, because, some people will have the fear of, oh no, I hope they don't hate me and whatever not. So have you ever gone through that, trying really, really hard in your career to like please everyone, and then without you realizing, you're being someone that you're not?
Yeah, and I think absolutely, because I started so young, I was still a kid. And so I kind of grew up in the industry. So you make mistakes, you learn as you go along, you observe other people around you. And like for me, I don't have idols and people and that, but I observe traits and qualities in different people. I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. I'm going to take a bit of that, and try that out. So yeah, and it's how you make people feel, how you make people feel about themselves, from whether you get interviewed by media or you're meeting someone at the press conference, and understanding that they come with all their biases and their everything that they bring to the table, and how do I just be me? And it's something that I've learned over the years. Initially, I carried a lot of expectations of what people wanted from me.
Exactly.
And especially the beauty queen, you're so like, you gotta look a certain way, sit a certain way, act a certain way.
Wave a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I wasn't very good at. I was like, on earth is this? I was like, I felt quite fake doing that. But yeah, you kind of, I think you grow up and you realize I just have to be me. And also because if you're not, it, like you say earlier, it's like you become unhappy and you have internal struggles with, why am I doing this? And this is not me and stuff. So for me, it's just learning it's being honest and genuine to who I am. But that to me it's being good to yourself. And I don't do something, I speak my mind. I'm very vocal. I always have been in the industry. If you do something wrong, I'm going to call you out on it.
Wow.
I'm not in a terrible like name and shame.
Okay.
But I'm going to call you out on it. I'm not going to let someone take me for a ride. And that's what happens in this industry. You lose your voice. You lose your power because you're at the mercy of everyone else. So it's always about, be quiet. Don't say anything because then you're going to lose work or lose jobs or lose this. And you can't live life like that. You got to, it's calculated risk, right? You got to weigh it out. And that's also what's like led me, I think, to doing the work I do with marginalized communities and that it's using that platform. It's being genuine, using my voice for something that I care about. And I think people initially it was, oh my God, beauty pageant and world peace. Are you kidding me? And it's like I fit the cliche.
Yeah,
like,
people tend to make a mockery out of that. It's like they keep saying that. Oh, what do you want world peace, and then people tend to always.
That's because of miscongeniality, right? They kind of did it for us. But yeah, so you have that horrible stigma that's attached to you, and so no one really probably knew I studied political science and economics at uni. It was an interest. I studied that. And after that, it's like, I want to work for an international organization. And it so happened that I became beauty queen. And I used that platform to my advantage. So it was an interest and I was doing it even before pageants, but you still get that judgment. So it took years for people to actually take me seriously. And even till today, I mean, I run a full-on nonprofit. And a social enterprise. We've helped thousands. We work with thousands of refugees and marginalized communities. And I still get people go, they tap me on the shoulder and go, that's nice. You're helping charity work, helping people, helping the less fortunate. And I'm like, what? This is not like I just do this like a couple of hours on the weekend. It's like,
it's an ongoing effort.
This is a real thing. It's like,
but again, I think I understand where the public is coming from, because having to look at all the models from the industry, the pageants and whatnot. One question, you being very vocal, how authentic do you think models are these days? Because let's be honest, all these projects they have, all this mission, vision and all that yabba dabba doos, it only lasts for a couple of minutes for the sake of the competitions or for the sake of getting votes or for the sake of impressing people. People like I like you, I invest my time so much in social services and I genuinely care about it. So I get very irked when I see people who do it for the sake of votes or attention, and then after a couple of months you don't see anything else from them. Everything just fades off, and you're like, so where was the whole
promise?
The promise, the confidence you had in ensuring that you would do something and all of that. And
well, that's what I ask when I judge beauty pageants. I ask the girls, because they come in and say, if I win, the question is, what will you do when you win? Or if you win, and they go, when I win, I'm going to, the charity answer, right? And I say, well, if you don't win, are you still going to do it? Because if you care so much about it, it's a platform, but if you don't win, you should still do it, right? I mean, if that's the right thing to do. So for me, it's more, like you say, you'll see it. If something is genuine, whoever the person is, they don't have to be famous, they don't have to be whatever, anyone from any walk of life. If what they do is real, if it's genuine, if it's authentic, you'll see it in years to come.
Yes.
And you'll see it grow. If it's not going to last very long.
Oh.
And that's it. And I mean, and that's just it.
I think that's what's said.
Their thing. That's their. That falls on them then.
That's why it's said that people use charity as a way to gain attraction or attention or engagement and all of that, instead of genuinely investing their time in making, in like nurturing a better society.
Absolutely.
And-
Absolutely. I almost don't like the word charity. I just haven't found a better word for it. I'm like, what other word could I use? Because it becomes, oh, charity, you do charity. And it becomes like handouts where you're constantly like giving someone a free meal, a free this. And I'm all for that. Like there is a time and place where you need to give someone that kind of support.
Yep.
But like for us at our organization, for Fuji, it's about, I want to give you a hand up. I want to help you to the point where you don't need me anymore.
I
And you
think
can
it's,
go
it's
on
not
and
charity, it's
build your life.
responsibility. It's our basic responsibility as a human being. You don't need to be someone huge in the industry.
Absolutely.
You don't even need to have a lot of money.
Absolutely.
If you make someone smile, that's your responsibility. If you lend a hand, it's your responsibility. You help someone overcome the issues, responsibility. I think it all roots down to your responsibility as a human being, not charity. Charity makes it sound like we are indebted to.
Yeah, it's
to-
like a
to-
victim. You're
Yeah.
the victim and I'm the savior
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
to help you. But look at the world today. I mean, look at the Australian bushfires. Look at the haze that happened. Even this unfortunate coronavirus. Do you think these issues respect boundaries and countries and people and the skin color? Of course not. It doesn't discriminate. It affects all the world. Whether you were part of it or not part of it doesn't matter. And so, coming back to your point, like we have to change how we live our lives and how we think. We're all interconnected. And for me, I really believe that in order for me to have a good life, even if I was selfish and I said, I just care about myself, but in order for me to live a good life and to enjoy the world, I need to make sure that you guys are also taken care of. Because if you're suffering, I'm not going to be able to like thrive. Like, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it really is when one person suffers and something affects them, it's going to affect everyone. And you see that with climate change and everything. So I think really I talk a lot to the younger generation, like to teenagers and young adults. And it's like, it's not just about the big car and the big house and your designer handbags. Like, great, have those things, if it gives you pleasure, but you need to think about the world and think about your role in the world. Like it's the power of one. You can change a life. You can have impact. And it matters because one fine day, we need to take care of each other. So I mean, even for me in Malaysia, like we need to talk about humanity and human values and not values. At the end of the day, like I don't care who you are and whatever your thing is, but it's about humanity, at the core of it. And that's the language that we need to hear from our leadership.
I think that can be seen by this unfortunate passing of Ashraf Sinclair.
Yep.
How it impacted so many people, and not only him. The one also recently, Abam Boche. The amount, there were, I think, thousands of people gathered at the mosque just to
Wow.
pay their final respects. That showed
Yeah.
how much he left the world with kindness
Yep.
for people to actually be able to move to see him for the last time.
A life well lived.
And even Ashraf as well, And I think this is what matters most, that when you die, you live with an impact in society. And, I think that's just what all of us need to learn. To do more without expectations,
Yeah.
but just, genuinely.
Okay, that's and coming back to what you're currently doing, you were talking about you're working on a project, or you've been doing so for quite a while with the refugees. Can you talk to us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I met a refugee family and from Somalia, 4 siblings, and they weren't in school. And they lived less than 20 minutes from our Twin Towers. And for me, my mom's a teacher, my sister is in education. And I think for me, it was this, how are these kids gonna, what life are they gonna have? They can't spell, you can't read, you can't write. There is no future, there is no hope. And so we started, my university friend and I started a tuition center, which has since grown into like a school. And we pretty much educate any child that cannot go to cannot afford a private school or can't go to a government school. So stateless or refugee or anyone who lacks the identification to get accepted into regular schools.
Wow.
So yeah, we've educated over 500 kids over the past 10 years.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
And it's kind of like what Arwin is doing right now. Arwin, could you care to share a bit of light on what you do in your
So my mom and I, we run an NGO for the underprivileged kids around our area. We live in Ayapanas. So the kids there are not really able to afford education, tuition fees, proper clothes, even uniforms and all of that. So this NGO is basically to provide them with all of these free tuition classes, yoga classes, dance classes, anything that helps them express themselves instead of keeping it in for a very long time. And just a year ago, last year, we actually collaborated with one of the refugee schools in Brickfields. I'm not sure, I can't remember the name, but we organized a sports day, and over 100 refugee students and our students, we basically just conducted one of the most beautiful events I've ever experienced in life. Because
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
Because it was plain joy. No one was there to judge, oh, are you Indian or are you Chinese? Or where are you from? Are you not from here? Everyone was just too busy laughing, having fun, just... It's you cannot express certain things. You can only feel certain things. You know what I mean?
But you know what the beautiful thing about what you just said is, kids get it. It's the adults that are like the ones that like kids get it.
Yes.
They don't see all that crap. They just, they have fun. They understand the beauty of joy.
Yeah, they don't see differences. They kind of like, oh, I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah.
I just want to run down that field and get my medal,
Exactly. But what breaks my heart about children is that in all these difficult situations, children suffer the most.
Yeah.
At stuff that's caused by us adults, and children suffer the most. And the fact that like any kid, and Malaysian, refugee, stateless, whatever, whoever, it's the fact that these kids, that they could go through life never having been able to realize their potential. Like, and that kid could be the next you. It could, the kid could be, Einstein was a refugee. Steve Jobs' dad, I think, was a refugee. That kid could grow up to create a vaccine that saves your mom from a disease. Like, that's how interconnected we are.
Yep.
And when you deprive kids, like children, of of seeing their potential come to life, that's really sad. We're actually robbing the world of so much. If only we saw it that way.
I always believe that every child has full potential to do anything they want given the right resources.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously there are limitations in some certain places. So with regards to your NGO, how do you've been doing it for 10 years? How do you sustain? Where do you get support from?
Yeah, so we get a lot of support from the private sector. So through CSR, a lot of fundraisers. I think when people understand, they come visit the school, they see the work we do, they're like, yeah, you know what? I want to support this. And so that's really nice to see. And when you spend time with another human being, like you learn their story, nothing else matters. So we also run our own fundraisers. We have sponsorship programs where individuals can get involved. We work with tons of universities.
Wow.
So for me, it's one aspect is raising funds, which is super important because we're a nonprofit. But the other aspect is really, I think it's a human connection. How do we build that? So volunteers and any opportunity where you can meet someone and share your story that's really important.
And are you solely managing this yourself, or you have a huge team that's working with you?
No, we have a big team. Definitely not me that does this all. I think
But you were I'm assuming that you were the initiator that started all this.
Yeah, so I founded the nonprofit essentially.
What's the name of the nonprofit?
So it's called Fuji. It's sort of like a play on refugee and also the Fugees. Some of the Fugees are actually refugees. And if you listen to their music, it actually very much touches on a lot of refugee challenges and the story.
And for those listening, the Fugees are actually a very popular band back in your parents'
oh my God,
days.
I forgot that. I was like,
back in your parents' days, my mom comes to you listen to the Fugees? Wait, what song did he sing again? Dang it. What's that?
The Lauryn Hill song? What was the one?
Killing Me Softly.
Yeah.
So all the rappers that basically taken that song, Killing Me Softly, and remade them into hits. Yeah, they came from the Fugees. Do you know the Fugees?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh my
I
God,
know.
now I
I'm
feel
dating.
old.
I'm saying that I know. I'm kind of dating myself. No, I'm not. We're young. Come on,
Oh my
we're
God,
young.
now I really feel old.
Dang it.
Go Google that.
Jeez, I will.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see your journey. To be honest, I mean, from someone who's sitting behind you in class
Oh my gosh, that's-
now she knows. To see you take the world stage to represent the country, to basically doing something that you truly believe in, and that's amazing because not everyone would do that because most of the time, okay, I don't want to say that everyone, most of the time, everybody tends to only want to look out for themselves. It's like, okay, how do I survive this rat race? How do I survive? How do I get this job? How do I progress? How do I get promoted? How do I start a family and stuff like that? And here you are, devoting your time. I'm not sure whether, I'm not sure. You're probably going to do this for a long time, but, how much sacrifice have you basically sacrificed in order to basically run this whole refugee camp?
It takes your time. It takes your time and your energy.
Is this what you're fully is this what you're fully focused on now, or do you have a few things going on at the same time?
I do a few things. So I still am in the industry hosting all the usual fashion and entertainment shebang. But this has kept me sane.
Oh,
it's funny when you ask like as if I'm helping others, but actually it's kept me grounded. It's made me realize it puts things into perspective when you have your pity party days where you're like, why me? My life is terrible. And then you kind of realize when you look at someone else and you're like, you know what? I'm really blessed. I have it good.
Yeah, as a cliche as it may sound, because a lot of people, people will always say that, when you look at all these other people who are less fortunate, then you'd be like, oh, you should be blessed and stuff like that. To be honest, it's very hard. It's not easy to explain it. Like Arwin mentioned just now, there's only one way for you to understand it is to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, yes, I have done certain things for the underprivileged children. I learned it from my mom. So my mom's a single mother. So every time I remember this very, very clearly. When I was young, I used to go to those hawker stores, right? Because we couldn't afford to eat those atas place. So she would go and she would pack food for me because I was twice the size. So she would pack double. But she will always come out, and when she sees a woman with a child who is begging on the street, she'll go back in and she'll buy a crap load of food, which is more than what can feed me in a week, and just go to her and give it all to her. And I'm like, oh, Mom, why are you doing that? Why didn't you just give her money and then she can just spend it on whatever she needs? And she's like, no, I'd rather give her food because that's what she needs. She needs food, she needs water, and then, and if I were to give her money, she may use it for the wrong things.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned how to kind of instill kindness to people. I remember another case was when my mom was driving and she saw a family who was basically, father was on the motorbike, the child was in the middle, and the pregnant mother was behind the child.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she like Fast and Furious, stop, and then she basically put the mom and the child together with me in the back seat to bring her to the hospital.
Wow.
And that's where I felt that because my mom's a teacher, so I felt like, wow, my mom's superwoman.
Wow.
Yeah, she has a lot of friends, and all her students were all, until today, it's like so funny. Like, so I get messages like, your mom used to teach me, and I'm like, okay, and that much of an impact. And the thing is, my mom is, sorry to say this, my mom is nobody influential. My mom's not a big superstar, whatever not. And she chooses to do this because she says that this makes me feel whole. She says that it's like I've been put into this earth to not see people suffer. If I can, I will basically do whatever I can to make sure that everybody doesn't suffer. But this is what keeps me whole. That's what she told me.
Yeah. Wow. And you don't need to be a millionaire to do good. So this whole thing of I'll wait till I'm rich and I got lots of money.
Yeah.
It's not, And people, when when you are people ask you, who are your idols? Who are the people you look up to? And we talk about Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama, and these are great individuals and totally inspirational. But very often it's the people in your life, the people in your immediate circle that you can learn so much from.
Yeah.
So
to be honest, I think when you mention people like Michelle Obama, they are very influential people. They can go on the stage and talk about things and people are like, yes, I believe in that. But to be honest, the most influential people are within your family circle. And everything begins from home. And I say this because, Arwin, whatever Arwin's doing right now, it's not originated from your mom.
Yes.
Yeah, your mom was the main initiator of this.
15 years ago, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Arwin being where he is now in this position, it's a totally different industry altogether because, he's in an industry where he's an entertainer and he's built a following. And he, most of the time, yes, people see him as the person that entertains, but most of the time I'm trying to get his phone and he doesn't pick up because he's in the school teaching his kids how to have fun and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's how everyone gets annoyed. I'm usually in the school every single day because there's tuition classes. And whenever I'm in school, I do not attend to my phone. And that's my priority. School comes first. So my manager gets annoyed with me, Jane gets annoyed with me, and I'm here
where are you?
Yeah, but it's really nice to hear your story. It's an amazing story. Your journey has just, it's very, I would imagine that your journey has been very, very fulfilling for you. it has made you kind of like search that inner person that you didn't realize when you were 15 because, you know, you were put in the spot.
Yeah, I mean, my journey's been, it's kind of scary because it's like you have to be kind of fearless. You know, you're always, I've never had a 9-to-5 job. I've never had constant income. I've never had like the things that a lot of people hold on to for like stability. So I'm just like, I flow with it, you know, and it's, you embrace change and try out new things and I mean, I do all kinds of crazy things that like I probably never imagined I'd ever do, right? So you kind of go with it and experience life and be open to possibilities. Yeah,
I can't believe I'm going to ask this next question because she was mentioning like, please don't ask these any like, you know, pageant questions. But, you know, what are the 3 things right now? What are the 3 things? I mean, just based on this conversation, what are the 3 things right now that keeps you whole?
Wow. I think the kids in the school. I think the children. I think seeing them succeed. Do better, do more in life, seeing their transformation, that just like, it makes everything worth it.
Right.
And knowing that I can actually influence and impact other especially young girls. I get a lot of like young girls who reach out to me for support and I think a lot of people go through tough stuff.
Yeah.
So being able to that using everything I've been through, it makes it worth it. And my close friends and family. I think that's and you know, and I love traveling, so I think that's number 4. And I love traveling, and I love traveling and seeing the world. So that's something that feeds my soul. I think if I look at it, something that really feeds me, it's experiencing the world, different cultures, people. That's fun.
If okay, I have to slip this in. Like, you know, if we reverse back all when you were 15 and you didn't meet that agent and you didn't get into modeling and you didn't get into the whole pageant thing, what would you be doing today? I know it sounds like a cliche question, but you know, at the end of the day, you I'm pretty sure at that age you kind of had like not a set plan, but kind of like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what I want to do.
Yeah, I unfortunately, I wasn't one of those kids. I don't know if you guys were. I wasn't one of those kids who's like, when they were 14, like, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer. And this is my whole life plan, my 5-year plan. I've never had a 5-year plan. I don't know how to do 5-year plans. I never had absolute clarity on it. But I remember when I had to apply to university and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to study? I chose political science. So I think that was always something that, like social justice, if I were to be technical, that was something that was always very important to me. And I studied that and I came out of uni very convinced that like, this is something that I want to kind of dedicate my life to. So I don't know, but I maybe I don't know, like I would think an international organization or something like that.
Okay.
And I would like travel. I love traveling. So around the world and that, but I've been very blessed that I've been able to do that, but on my own terms.
Oh, okay.
Which is even more special.
Nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, Deborah Henry on the show. Today's been amazing. Thank you so much for making time to come on the show to talk to us, tell us about your journey and stuff like that. Yes, you have a organization called Fuji. We're gonna put out more detail. Actually, you know what? If anybody wants to actually support this organization, what can they do?
Yeah, I mean, go to our website, fugee.org. Volunteer, donate, get involved. I think everyone who comes, like you say, spending time experiencing how other people live, different cultures, different people, that's the best way that we can change minds and change hearts.
Wow, well said. Arvind, before we go, do you have anything to say?
I think I just want to say thank you for being bold. Thank you for being brave. And the most important thing is thank you for nurturing a better society. It's an honor to be sitting with someone who is so influential, but at the same time using that power for a really, really, really beneficial purpose. And I am extremely honored. Thank you so much for what you do.
And thank you guys for having me. I mean,
no problem.
Same to you, both of you. You guys are bold, brave, and do so much. So
hopefully this won't be the last time that you'll be on the show.
No, please. I'd love to come
back.
I am definitely visiting Fuji.
Yeah.
Yes, please, and likewise. And yeah, I need a bit more comedy in my life. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to Mamak Sessions. You can do so on Spotify. You can do so on iTunes. Hey, we're on the charts, okay? We're in the top 10. So if you're not listening, follow us on our Instagram, Mamak Sessions. We will speak to you guys next time.